Love one another and love above all things. The Messiah receives a clear instruction from God, that the first step all human beings must take, in order to receive from God everything we need to live human life illuminated by divine light, is to begin to move the love of our souls. For many, the word love is spiritually unknown, therefore, the first step is to love one another, and the field of learning that the law of love has established is the family, the home, as the place of daily practice for the development of our divine faculties and the knowledge of spiritual life. This is the divine reason for the absolute love of the Father in sending the being to incarnate again and again until the love of the inner being is developed. And by mastering the internal obstacles that prevent us from loving one another, we may love above all things. In the video Universal Religion 01, the Messiah told us that the feeling of loving is the only religion brought from heaven. If he says brought, it is because it already exists in heaven, and all the spirits of God are permanently loving God naturally, always, continuously. This is what ensures that they act correctly in all their deeds. All these beings love one another and love above all things. They also lived in past lives as families and are now free from earthly bonds. They live in a space of light and bliss. The step that led them to those levels was loving one another as human families in past times. They no longer need physical bodies. And when he says unique, it is because it is a religion in which all beings feel in unity with their Creator, and which the human being can begin to form here, in this present life, by perceiving the deep feeling of unity, because there is only one religion in heaven, the religion of love, and the Messiah seeks to establish it on earth by the Father's command. What does it mean for the human being incarnated now on planet Earth that God tells us, through the soul of the Messiah, that the most important thing in physical life at this moment is, love one another? The law of love establishes, through the law of incarnation, that human bodies in material worlds are formed in the womb of a mother, and that spiritual beings programmed to learn lessons in the material world take on that body. When that body no longer has the conditions to sustain physical life, all learning work ends, and the being must leave the body through the law of disincarnation. The spiritual being resurrects and returns to the spiritual world, from where it was sent to take on a material incarnation. The law of love, the divine law, establishes who the parents of the children will be in each family, based on affinity with the mother. The learning lesson in the union between two beings of different sexes is programmed by the unified criterion of the beings of light who guide each spiritual being, a being of light for the father, a being of light for the mother, and a being of light for each child in the family. These beings of light determine the body of each being, male or female, according to the lessons programmed within family relationships for the spiritual progress of each new being to be born. The beings of light encourage those who will become parents to form a home, a family, to try to procreate and have children, to establish the foundations of family, the principal nucleus of experimentation where blood relationships purify their spiritual energies. The absolute love of the Father, which contains all absolute wisdom, knows the needs for progress of each family member. Each being is integrated within the divine perfection of the law of incarnation to achieve what the Messiah is now telling us, that by fulfilling this divine instruction of the Father, and by human beings loving one another within their families, loving above all things, the bond of family unity is maintained through life, differences, problems, difficulties, and every situation they must go through. And we ask ourselves, how can we understand this instruction before forming a home? or after forming a family, or after having left the family through separation. We must understand that the energies of each being, material or spiritual, carried from previous lives, determine the vibrations emitted at the moment when the Father's law of love has considered it the right time for two beings to come together, to form a human family, and for order, balance, and harmony to be fulfilled in the procreation of the human species on earth. There will be some who feel energies of attraction between two beings, male and female, encouraged by their beings of light, with varying intensities of purity in vibrations of love. In both beings, their souls emit vibrations of love, forming a spiritual union, a feeling of finding what was missing, a complement that gives meaning to life, a shared purpose of being for one another. The spirit must then provide reasoning elements to support the unity of this feeling. There will be other beings who feel meant for one another and desire to complement each other, uniting their lives until old age, joining forces to resist the challenges that material life will present as lessons and experiences for their progress. There will be those who feel attraction to beauty, to a good specimen, who like one another and find each other attractive. They form the impulse to unite their lives. They come from previous lives, they knew each other, interacted, were friends, without intimacy or deep knowledge. That foundation is what the beings of light use to unite them in the present incarnation. Their base of attraction is physical energies. From the moment they meet, beings must move their vibrations of love, loving God in the soul of the other being, visualizing that light in their chest and expressing, "We love you, Father," in the soul of this being with whom I wish to unite my life. I wish to walk by their side, to receive your divine light approval, beloved Father. I wish to form a family with your blessing. I wish my future children to be beings of love sent from your heaven. I wish to have a sacred family in your name. From the moment they unite as a family, beings must raise their vibrations to the Father, expressing love and gratitude for being allowed to form a home, and for all that is received as tools of spiritual life, loving the Father at every moment of family life. It is the mother's vibrations that produce affinity with the new being. The higher the vibration of love, the beings of light know the spiritual level of the spiritual being to be born. When a new family member arrives, their inner being, their soul, must be loved from the moment it is known that they are forming in the mother's womb, expressing the desire to support their spiritual development for which God has sent them to the family, and guiding them through all stages of development as what they truly are, a spiritual being incarnated in a physical body, with the clarity that we are all brothers before the Father. Love the Father every day upon awakening, when going to work, during daily tasks, putting full effort into fulfilling material responsibilities well. Love the Father in bathing, in food, in clothing, in the roof that shelters us, and in every material good that provides protection. If a home is already formed, the spiritual work must be assumed according to the progress reached at that stage, resuming the lesson of loving and respecting one another for the time the Father's love has allowed them to be together, and for all the time that still remains as family members. If there has been separation, love must still be emitted from one to another, remembering the stages since meeting and the time shared in the home. Love the children as little ones in need of love, wishing that the Father's love may envelop them. In any condition in which a being finds themselves regarding family, the work is the same, to love. This is to fulfill loving one another. The divine law establishes that beings who fail to understand one another in the home, due to differences and material interests, must repeat incarnations until they master the human energies that prevented understanding. When they reach freedom, they will be able to love above all things. Thus, we understand that all families formed by blood ties have a single purpose: to learn from all the vicissitudes of daily life, putting virtues into practice, attaining greater spiritual values, overcoming defects, fulfilling material responsibilities properly, and responsibly performing the role of parents, spouses, relatives, and family, in accordance with the law of love. The spiritual lesson of every family, regardless of where it is formed, is programmed by the absolute love of the Father, considering what is best for their growth toward perfection. Love each family member with the divine presence of God in their souls, learning from each one's virtues and supporting one another. Love above all things, rising above any situation that could separate you, without placing love for family above love for the Creator, but always loving Him above all things as the energy of His universal religion. By feeling this love among all members, there will come a moment when a powerful feeling of unity in God will make them experience loving above all things and becoming part of the great spiritual family, the family of God's unitary religion.